Welcome back everybody, and Happy New Year to everyone. And yes, we are back in St. Petersburg again, and we're straight into building today. And I'm sure you can tell by the title, we are doing a highway all the way around. So it's going to be going completely all the way around St. Petersburg, and there's not going to be a lot of connections into the city, but I didn't want to do too many connections because then that just kind of overloads it. So yeah, so this area here, there was an existing road here already, which was already quite popular. So I thought, why not connect it to the roundabout, use that existing road that was there, but I just deleted it, and then use the connection onto this roundabout. But I think this roundabout, it's pretty much at capacity now in terms of entrances and exits, so keep that in mind, not to add too many of those into a roundabout, especially connecting to a highway, because it's going to create so much congestion. And then straight over the train tracks, of course, because if the traffic had to mix with the train tracks, of course it's going to create a lot of congestion because it's a highway, so it's going to have a lot of traffic in general. So we will just connect this over here like this, and it's above the ground because I'm going to connect. You can see where the cars are, which is where the existing road was. So that road there will be diverted onto the highway here, and then that'll create easy access onto the other main highway, which is there on the left side of the screen. So the existing smaller road there that I will build will go underneath that part there, underneath this part. So I deleted it because I wanted to do it again because I didn't like it. So yeah, so that'll go under, create an easy connection. The only concern I have is that how close it is to the residential areas, because originally those residential areas, they were kind of like the outskirts really, but now suddenly they're somewhere, if that makes sense. So it went from quiet to being a little bit more noisy now. So, but I can see I put in a tree barrier there, but not that trees really do that, according to my last video. So check that out if you're not sure what I'm talking about. But I mean, it's still this highway. It's going to create a lot of connection really, because my existing roads aren't really keeping up with capacity. So, and I didn't really want to add in a highway going all the way around, because I kind of wanted to challenge myself to not actually need a highway, but traffic was just a bit too much. So, and people have been asking me to do this for a while, so I just thought, yeah, why not, we'll finally do it. And yeah, so this is the connection. It's a very basic connection. There won't be any traffic coming from the right side going all the way through, so it's just a dead end road. That road is specifically only for connection to the highway, on and off the highway. So and I think, not in this video but off camera, I think I added in a lot of the trees, like the avenues, what's it called, the just the roads with the trees in it, because apparently that's what helps with the sound issues. So I added in a lot of those, which I hope will help with any sound noise pollutions that will be caused by this area. So I add in 1 lane roads there because I mean, it's kind of common sense really. You have, so the road that I'm connecting up to there, it's a 2-lane road on either side. So the 2 lanes, you have 1 lane that will go straight through the whole intersection on and off ramp area, and then you have the left side ramp which will go straight off. So that just creates more of an easy flow. There's not really any traffic trying to like merge lanes. They have a lot of time to make sure they're in the right specific lane that they want to do. And then, so over here, the single lane will come back up and then connect, and then that'll create 2 lanes again, which will go straight onto the roundabout highway. So just following it along the train track, because like I don't know, it's just kind of like wasted space up here. So just, yeah, and I didn't want to connect once again, I didn't want to make the highway actually interact with the train track, so it's going to go straight over. The only downside is that all of those residential areas, like when they look up the hill, they're going to see this massive highway like this part here. So but but let's not think about that. So maybe I could add in some trees just to kind of hide the highway a little bit more, to make it just a bit more visually appealing and to not make it look so, I don't know, just unnatural, I guess. So I was planning to do a connection here, but actually I don't think I did, because I really wanted there to be a very limited amount of connections to the highway, this highway here. And if you're wondering what this road is that I'm using, it's in one of my mods. It's in my mods and asset list. If you're not sure, it's I'm not sure what it is, but there's one mod in there that has a lot of different roads, so you can get that. It's a pretty good mod. The only thing I don't like about this road is that it doesn't have the barriers on either side. It's just the road. So I think it would be so much better if it actually had the barrier. It would look kind of a bit more realistic as well. So this part here is where I actually do make a major on and off ramp area. So I tried to lower it down a little bit, so those, not that it really matters, but the houses in that housing estate, I wanted them not to really be able to see the highway, so I make sure the highway is lower than the trees there, the tree line, so just so it's hiding it a bit more. And this whole intersection here, it really was kind of interesting to do. So you can see there's an existing road that goes straight through. What I eventually done, or what I'm doing now, I completely delete that road, and that whole road actually gets diverted to somewhere else, because I didn't want it to interact with this whole intersection on and off ramp area here. So it goes straight under. It's moved away because sometimes there's a lot of traffic coming through this whole area, so I didn't want that traffic to actually interact with the traffic from the highway. Yeah, so that will just go straight underneath there, and it's not really interacting with the highway at all. So I added in the stop sign, or not the stop sign, the give way sign, because I didn't want them to automatically come straight out, so they have to wait, like give way of course. So and then just adjusting the lanes, so there's only 2 lanes there, so they can either go straight ahead or they can go to the right, so there's just the 2 lanes, just creating more options. So, and then you can see that I changed the lanes here, so it's a 3-way lane then a 1, and the reason why I done that is just because, just like that, so it's just creating an easy flow between the traffic lanes, so just reducing the amount of traffic lights, because traffic lights will create more of a wait time, which I don't want in this area. And then, so this will be the other ramp that will go up and on. And yeah, so the thing I don't like about this highway is that when you connect a ramp like that, it makes that awkward little space where the line disappears. So if anyone knows how to like stop that, or if there's like some kind of mod that gets rid of the space, because I just want the line to go straight through, so it doesn't look like there's that awkward gap there. So that would be helpful if anyone knows how. And I realize now that I've actually made a mistake on this whole highway part here. I actually added on 2 entrance ramps, so that ramp on the other side there, that should actually be going in the opposite direction, so it should be heading towards the river up onto the it should actually be an exit ramp from the highway, so I have to go fix that up. Hopefully I remember to fix that up. I've already filmed the next episode, so it won't be fixed up for a couple of episodes, so don't worry about that too much. But I'm glad I picked that up now, because I was watching the game off camera, and I was just wondering, like, why is no one really using the highway very much? So I think that must be why. So I'm glad I noticed that now. So yeah, that's a really bad example showing you guys, but yeah, so let's not worry about that too much. Okay, and since just continuing on with the highway there, it's a little bit of a weird terrain angles right there. So it goes straight over the river, the highway, and then straight into a tunnel. And I had a bit of difficulty trying to work out where exactly I wanted the next connection to be. At first I was like, should I just make a connection right here? But the reason why I didn't connect it right there is because it's still quite close to the previous connection. When I say connection, I just mean on and off ramp, so just remember that. So the next connection, I wanted it to be more focused in the industrial, well, not really an industrial estate, but this whole office kind of riverside area, which is kind of close to the city. It actually took me a really long time to work out how I wanted to connect this whole area, so I played with it off camera for quite a while, and I didn't include it in this video because it's really long and just a lot of me trying things, deleting things. So what I ended up doing is just completely put it into a tunnel all the way straight through, and then just adding in several small entrance and exit ramp tunnels that just connect onto the road. And I tried to spread them out just a little bit so they're not super close to each other, and that's basically the best I could really do, just because the whole area, the terrain is a little bit steep, so it's a little bit hard to work with, and also I was quite limited in space, so I couldn't really do too much in this whole area. So I think just tunnel entrance and exit ramps were the best option, because like I said, it takes up a lot of space, and so when this whole area is more urbanized, it'll look completely like blended in. You won't even know that there's a highway connection there, so which I think might be a good thing, because it just doesn't create that whole highway type feel area. So right here I'm just working out where I wanted to put the next ramps, the entrance and exit ramps. So I decided this area here is probably the best. It's kind of a little bit of a funny area, so I didn't really want to have to put it on a smaller road, so that's why I updated the road to an avenue a little bit, and so the avenue will act as a bit of a sound barrier as well, and hopefully it'll just work out easy with the traffic flow as well. And so this tunnel, it's both entrance and exit, so you have a 2-lane road that goes in, and then so you just have to make it was just a little bit tricky with all the curves and things, just to make it all flow quite easy, because I didn't want it to have really sharp turns. Even though it is underground, you don't really see it, I still wanted it to be quite smooth, because if it wasn't smooth, it would kind of bug me a little bit, so I just had to go like that. And so hopefully that works out quite well. I don't really urbanize this whole area for quite a while, so we won't really get to see if this whole area works quite well, but I'm sure it'll work well enough, but we shall see how it goes. You guys will notice that there's the roundabout right there, and that's actually where the mini highway finishes. And so you might be wondering, why didn't I connect this highway to the roundabout to connect up with the other mini highway? The reason why I didn't connect it up there and put it as a tunnel straight underneath is because I feel as though that whole roundabout is at capacity already. Adding more entrance and exits onto that whole roundabout will just create too much confusion and just too much congestion, and then I can just imagine them all trying to change lanes, and then there's like that one car just sitting there and making all of the other cars wait and just congest and wait and wait and wait. So I just didn't want to do that. But so there'll be one connection here. I'm just kind of planning out where I want to put them all. So there'll be one connection there, and then I wasn't really sure where else, just because again the terrain is kind of a little bit odd. It's a little bit hard to work with, but it's kind of like a good challenge. So there'll be a connection not too far away from the other roundabout as well. This area here, that where the highway comes out of the ground, will actually be where the next connection is, and so that connection will be quite close to that roundabout right there, but it's not going to be directly connecting it, and that's just because I didn't want both traffic from both highways to really meet at a certain point. So it's just spreading it out a little bit, just reducing the amount of traffic and congestion. So but the main road there that's at the bottom of the screen, I'll probably have to really update that to a lot of lanes in the future, because there's going to be a lot of traffic just trying to pass through that whole area, and then there's going to be a lot of traffic coming from both this highway and then the other mini highway and just the urban areas in general. So yeah, so that will be something I will have to do, but I don't think I've done that in this episode. I completely forgot about that. This part here, I added in that small road with the grass in the middle, and that road is purely for the connection to the highway. So, and I tried to do these really weird angles, and I don't know what it turns out like. I don't know, it kind of resembles a heart, maybe the shape of a heart. So that lane that I'm doing now, it's a two-way lane, meaning there's a lane going to like north and then one south, so if that makes sense. And so they can just go like straight like that. And yeah, so it looks a little bit funny, but this is something that gets built in real life. It's quite popular. It's often quite blended in with a lot of plants, and it's probably not used in a lot of super busy areas, purely because where these two smaller roads meet right there, where the cable car goes over, will kind of create some issues in the future. But you'll see what I do with that in a few minutes. I add in a give way sign to one of the lanes, so all the other lanes can just continually flow through the whole area, and then one lane will have to wait. But surely that would be okay. this space here is where the next connection will be. So, and I think I made the road type to be only for residential use. So that means there won't be any trucks coming from this area. There won't be I think just trucks. I banned trucks just because this is quite a quiet residential area. I did have to demolish some of these buildings here, but then I rezoned it after so they can rebuild, and that can kind of act as a sound barrier, I hope. But yeah, so I banned trucks in this area just because I didn't want them to come in this area and disrupt the quiet neighborhood, I suppose. So the trucks, they can easily go to other connections anyway, so it's not really a big deal. So, and that's something that they do in real life as well. They ban trucks in certain areas, or the trucks have to use what's it called, instead of the air brake, which is really loud, they have to use other brakes in certain areas, in residential areas. So yeah, and just adjusting this whole area, since it's only going to be residential vehicles, so there's probably not going to be too much traffic, so I can be quite yeah, you can see I'm banning some types of vehicles there, so there's not going to be too much traffic coming in this whole area, so I can be a bit more laid back with the road types there. So you can see I just added in a stop sign, so they can just really just stop and then just go. They don't really have to wait too long. But if this was a really busy area, I definitely wouldn't connect the entrance and exit ramp just like that. It would have to be so much more worked out and so much more just clever, really. And then the second road, I just make it come up from this avenue area here, just because it's kind of like the avenue just goes to nowhere. So I just thought, why not just connect it up, and then it's kind of an odd road that I do in a second. It just comes up over from that avenue and then just kind of connects up here. It's not really going to anywhere else. So and then this whole area was kind of tricky again because of the terrain. So I had to flatten it out a little bit just to make it a bit more easy to work with. It was really difficult at first. So just flattening it out a bit there, and then so it'll be kind of like on the opposite side where the two roads, the entrance and exit ramp meets. So this entrance and exit ramp will meet at this road here, and then it'll just come straight down like that, and then I have to adjust the angle because it's just a little bit wonky. So but so yeah, that road, doing it like that is quite good because it just creates a really natural flow. So there's no cars trying to cross over each other. They just stay in their lane and that's it. They don't need to bother about waiting or give way or traffic lights or anything like that. So it's a really good way to do this if you have not much traffic coming from this area. But like I said, if this whole area becomes really super busy, or you're just doing a connection in a really busy area in general, yeah, don't do it like that. You have to do it a lot more technical. And so here we are at the end of the highway connection so far. So it just stops here in the tunnel. So, and once again, like I keep saying in this video, the terrain is really difficult to work with. So the highway just goes completely underneath this whole area. There's no connection at all. It meets up with another roundabout connection, which we will see in a minute, this area over here. So I kind of left it like this because I wondered way back at the start of the game, will I need to make a connection like this? So that's why the roundabout is always a good idea, because you can create a lot of connections meeting in the one spot, and sometimes it's just easier with a roundabout versus a whole intersection of traffic lights, because it's just leaving a more natural flow. And this roundabout was a little bit interesting because you have that extra lane there for all the incineration plants. So the incineration plant road and this highway actually meet at the same point, so I had to put in a stop sign or a give way sign there, just because otherwise it would be quite a mess. So probably wouldn't be something that happens too often in real life. So yeah, that's just what I had to do, because I couldn't really delete the incineration plant road and put it somewhere else, just because there wasn't really anywhere else, and the incineration plant really needs easy access to the highway as well. So I think that's about wrapping up this highway, I think. So I was thinking, should I add in a highway down here, connect it here, then it can go up through the mountains? I was thinking about it, but I didn't do it. So now I'm basically just wrapping up the whole video, just showing you guys what we worked on today. Thank you guys for watching. This is where the highway will connect overall, so you can see it's a pretty good flow, and then this is the other connection right here. And like I said, it's a pretty good flow overall, and they just, yeah, I think it worked out quite well, and I liked all the trains just zooming past right there. This part here, I was kind of skeptical if it would work, and I know I need to fix up that lane, the entrance lane. It should be an exit lane, so I have to fix that up soon. Just keep reminding me if I forget in the future. But yeah, I do know it's wrong, so don't pester me about that. I do know, but you can see just watching the cars, they just turn so freely. There's no traffic lights really, they just go. So that area worked out quite well. This area here, don't know if it's going to work out well yet. We'll just have to wait and see. It's just trial and error, to be honest, but I think it'll be fine. Just have to, I don't know, we'll just have to play around with it. We might have to upgrade roads or do time traffic lights, I'm not sure yet. This area here, again, it's pretty good. It worked out quite well. You can see the cars just flow straight past. So yeah, and I like how the cable cars just go straight over the top. It just, I don't know, just makes it a lot more realistic, I think. And this area here, I quite like it, to be honest. It's just kind of just blends in quite well. It's hidden amongst the mountains. You got the trees, you got a nice park right there, and yeah, and then we just finish it off over here. Again, you can see the traffic flows pretty good right there, so I'm pretty pleased overall with the whole highway. Like I said, I wasn't really planning on doing a highway at all, but yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. In the next episode, I'm actually going to be working on a pedestrian slash cyclist highway, so a highway that goes throughout the whole city. So yeah, stick around for that, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.